Okay, so I'm just thinking about this, the being a victim thing. I'm making food for myself before I leave. I'm doing those falafels again. Those were really good. So I was just thinking again about being a victim and being a victim in a relationship. Being a victim in a relationship is giving over your power. And even just expecting somebody else to make you excited for your life is also giving over your power. You know, I was thinking about how in the last year I was saying, like, I have all these interests, and who wants to be with somebody that all of their interests revolve around them? Yeah, that's quite a bit of pressure to be under. I don't want to be in a relationship where the person's only excitement is if I'm excited about something. I want them to have their own things going on. You know, also, like I want for myself, I want to have my own things going on. I want to be excited about my own life and doing things that I like doing, regardless of my relationship. In a good relationship, I will have space in the relationship for that and not have to be like proving myself or, I mean, I don't have to do that anyway in a relationship. It's me giving over my power. So kind of, I was thinking about this whole thing with a relationship, straightening it out a little bit. Thinking about this whole thing of being a victim. Being a victim and giving over your power even to a good partner is the same thing. It's taking yourself, your own power out of the equation, and your own life and your own self-worth and your own you get the picture. And I was thinking about being a victim in a relationship and there being a, like, when you are in a relationship and you are being a victim, there also if you're playing the part of the victim, then your partner has to play the part of the villain. Otherwise, you can't be a victim. So it's kind of like two sides of the same thing. And they're dependent on each other. They're kind of codependent on each other. And I'm thinking about my marriage, that I was kind of a victim in my marriage. I was thinking to myself, by being a victim, I am creating the victor, or I'm creating the one that is reigning over. You know, if I'm not standing up and taking responsibility, I'm feeling like I can't do it and I'm the weak one in the situation and somebody's doing something to me and therefore it's their fault and you know, it's blaming as being a victim. If you're blaming somebody for your circumstances, it's you not standing up and taking responsibility in your own circumstances and making your own life. You know, nobody can do to you. This was one of the big epiphanies that I had when I was going through, you know, when I started this waking up process in myself, was nobody can do to you what you don't allow them to do. Nobody can, you know, I understand that there are things that are, you know, like things that happen to children, and I understand all this. I'm saying in this life, as an adult, and in places that I've been in my life, and playing the victim now, like, oh, I'm so weak. Somebody did something to me. I expected it to be different. I expected them to give me unconditional love and fill my needs. They are my savior. First of all, that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody. You know, we each have to be our own person and take responsibility for our own selves, but to drag somebody else along, who wants that? And besides, the dragger, you know, the draggee is losing their own self-power in it. So if I'm allowing somebody else to drag me along in my life, then I'm giving up my own self-power. You know, it's like I'm like being tagged along, and also it becomes heavy for the other person. Who wants to drag somebody else and fulfill somebody else's expectations and needs to be happy? It can't work. It can't work. I can't put my expectation of being happy on anybody else, because then they're always going to have to, it's like I'm an empty shell. They'll always have to be in that spot of making me happy, because otherwise I'm not going to be happy. And it's impossible. Nobody can take responsibility. Nobody can get inside of my head and know at every moment exactly what is the what I need them to be for me. I need to be me. I need to stand up and take responsibility for my own self, my own happiness, fulfill myself, take myself onto the trips that I want to go to, make my own money so that I'm not dependent on somebody else to do that for me, because that's also a big one. I know that is a massive one. I know that from my own life. You know, the fear of not being able to make it financially, and so then we stay in a dependent partnership with somebody that perhaps we wouldn't, perhaps we would choose to be with them, but perhaps we wouldn't too. Yummy. And it also always leaves the question to your partner: would this person be with me if I wasn't a provider? And then it's not unconditional love. Then you feel like, the person that is the provider, or codependency, many times it's a codependency, that both people feel like, I have to perform and I have to do this in order to, I have to fulfill these specific list of duties in order for my partner to, I'm going to show you that, this mix that I'm using. Well, I actually cut it in half. It's called falafel. I cut it right on its name, so I don't know the name of it. Falafel Ashid, maybe? I don't know, but it's really good. I'm taking the other half out of the freezer because my boys are going to be here today. I'll make them falafels. It's a fun, easy, tasty meal. And healthy and filling, and they're all into now watching their protein, so that should be good for them. And it's really good, this falafel mix. It's like the package is in Arabic, so it's a more traditional, I guess, Arabic recipe. It's really good. Okay, I'm going to make myself also coffee. I'm out of regular coffee, so I'm just going to make myself some instant coffee. I'm all into this doing what I please kind of game that I have going on now. Doing things out of my own belief system and how I see them to be fit to do. And from that place of being completely loyal to myself, I don't have to prove anything to anybody else. That's part of this unconditional love that I was talking about earlier, in that earlier video this morning, is that somebody that's going to love me and want me and be in a partnership with me is going to be there for me, how I am as is. And I'm going to do the things as I see them, as they work for me in my life. I'll take a Clementina too. Yesterday I also went to the beach and I picked some more berry leaves. The berry leaves are like this big around. Last time I made them with I made like this really good rice, and I filled it with tomatoes and all sorts of things, and then I made those. I made those kind of like you would make grape leaves wrapped, and they turned out really good. I like making videos while I'm doing things because it's like two stones. It's also I don't get into my mind like, oh no, doomsday. But it's also like I get busy and I'm doing like two things at once. And also when I'm busy, it helps me, everything just comes out. I just get, I get into the flow. Also the flow of speaking and also into the flow of doing. So it kind of like gets me into this mode that I like the mode. Let me see this. How's this coming? So that was basically what I wanted to talk about, is talking about being a victim. And that was one thing that I realized in my marriage, is that I gave over my power. For years and years and years, I gave over my power. And I think that that was kind of how I was brought up. My parents were different than my husband and I, or our dynamics. But lately, in these last few years, I've kind of seen these similarities too. My father and my husband are very different people with a different set of achim. Achim are values. They had different sets of values. And this is sage that I made. I bundled it together, getting close to the end. They have a very different set of values and skills. But there was something there that was similar, that kind of, the dominant male, very now I see it as a kind of like a facade. Facade is like, I kind of see it as like one of those you know how the tanks put out a smoke veil and they hide under their smoke veil? Kind of like that. Today I see it a little bit more like that, like it was a big smoke veil. But something in the dominant, very alpha, masculine vibe that attracted me into the marriage. So what I'm going to say is that I'm going to go ahead and end this because the food is almost ready and I'm ready to get moving on this day. Is that being a victim is giving over your own power. If you are a victim in your marriage, that is because if you're a victim. Okay, so this is something that I might get feedback about, but I understand it to be true, that when you are being a victim, then it's you allowing yourself to give over your own power. And because you are drawing to yourself what you believe that you are worthy of. Okay, that's a good way of putting it. So let's say one of the things that I realized in my marriage is that if I hadn't believed that that I was deserving of that kind of behavior towards me, then I would have never been in that situation. Nobody can do to you what you don't allow them to do. And I mean over the course of, a time. You don't end up with a life partner that you don't believe that you are worthy of. So if somebody is treating you like shit, then it's because you're allowing them, and something in you believes that is something that you are worthy of, that behavior is acceptable. The minute somebody treats you just a little bit more crappy than you think that you deserve, then you're out of there, and it happens quick. So it's either when their behavior becomes so poor that it pushes you out of your comfort zone. Thing is that things like that also happen gradually. I noticed, like in my marriage, I had a red line, and the red line just kept on being. I also had like a brainwashing from when I was growing up, that when you get married, you don't get divorced. You stay married. And that was something that that was in one of my core beliefs, and it was so strong embedded in there that it was like I was blinded. It was like a divorce wasn't an option when especially since we had children straight away. As soon as I got married, we had children. I was, by the time I was 22, I had 2 kids. And also I didn't believe in myself that I would ever be, I came from a house where I grew up fairly monetarily poor. Lots of love, but monetarily poor. And I had never gone out on my own to try to make a living. And I had never supported myself. And I came from a home where the core belief was that it's difficult to make a living. I'm still dealing with those core beliefs. Talking about it and acknowledging it and calling it what it is and being able to look at it is helping me understand. And then after that, when as an adult, and my ex-husband, I should say, he came from a family that also didn't have a lot of means. I'm looking for a sock that would be good to put around my coffee because it'll keep it warm. And I don't want to take one of the good socks. I want to take one of those socks that we never find a match for. I think like this one. I have a basket of socks here. Let me see, lights are off. I'm getting ready to go. Everything looks like. There's just always so much to do. There's just always so much to do. But you can do all your life. You can do. It's just that, what I really want to do in these next few days is I want to put together my vision. I was listening to that audiobook again, As a Man Thinketh. It's by James Allen. It is an excellent audiobook. It was written in the 1900s. I may go ahead and make an audiobook of it. I think it's already on, it's for sure on public domain because it's an old book. It's over 100 years old. So I'm thinking maybe I will make an audiobook of it and put it up on my channel. Maybe. But I was listening to it again yesterday because that is a book that is worth brainwashing yourself with. It's really worth brainwashing yourself with. I've gone through, I must have listened to it at least tons of times. And there are certain times when I start listening to it that I listen to it over and over and over. Just because it's so meaningful, and it's not that long. It's about an hour to listen to it all the way through. And okay. You can listen to it all the way through within an hour. Here, I'm going to go ahead and take the other falafel, a clementina. This falafel I will have on the way. My coffee, my water. What was I saying before that? I was talking about something. Um, I was talking about not being a victim, or if you are a victim, that it is of your own doing. And I think that was pretty clear. And I think I'm going to end this here because I really need to just focus on getting out, getting going to work. And so that James Allen book, what was I going to say about it? There was something, there was a point that I was making there, but I think that I need to just focus on getting out of here. So if you've been watching, thank you for watching. It's very nice. And I will see you later.